We're getting there. We got a
No, we're not.
nice.
That lag is real.
Hey, man, we got a nice show for Salient Points number 32. I'm your host, as per usual, Carlos Macias. This is a podcast for July 30th, 2021.
You didn't jump 2 months.
We're off to a beautiful start. I'm sorry, Dalan. I took the per usual from you, man. Dalan
No, it's
Kirkwood.
fine. You just figure out what month it is. We'll be fine.
Dalan Kirkwood up in the mountains, as per usual. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Like always, just again, figure out the month, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm doing my part to save America. All right, Luis Mendez back from the dead. Actually, he wasn't dead last week. He was here. He was present. Thank you for joining us, Luis Mendez, again.
He has risen.
Of course,
Dalan, you're wilding.
I'm always wilding.
You're wilding out, but I like it. Look, what's been wilding and raging apparently, and not so much. I think people have kept it pretty reasonable, but I guess it depends on who you follow, because I think there's sort of the console wars rage on depending on who you follow. But we did get sales numbers, official from Sony at least. The PlayStation 5 has sold 10 million hardware systems. The Xbox Series S and X, which I believe is a combination, is estimated, so it's just estimated 6.5 million, and that's from Nico Partners, who's like an analyst firm. They kind of they arrived at these numbers somehow, so we're choosing to kind of give them a little bit of belief. On the Sony end, that's from Sony themselves for the PlayStation 5. SIE CEO Jim Ryan to Router said, we've built more PlayStations faster than we ever have before, which makes me happy, but on the other hand, we're some time from being able to meet all the demand that's out there, which makes me feel bad. Our partners are performing really well for us, but the chip shortage is definitely a challenge that we are all navigating. Dalan, we'll start with you, man. How you feeling about this? Is this a nice competition that's brewing, or it's whatever, just buy everything?
I keep thinking every time I hear about the console wars, the only two systems we really talk about are the PlayStation and Xbox. But then again, I'm thinking to myself, what about Nintendo? Oh, Nintendo's fine. Don't worry about it.
And I'll tell you about Nintendo and I saw, if you guys follow Luis's tweets, he was talking about how the Switch is like what would you say it is, at least for you?
I said it's a paperweight. It's been a paperweight for me for the past few months. I don't use it.
No, but you do work from home though, right? So do you feel like if you actually went to an office or something like that, or you went somewhere, you would take the Switch with you and you would play it more? Or it would still be a paperweight?
Well, I actually did when I went into work, into an office. I would take it into work with me every day, but I didn't use it every day.
That's true. So, I do the same thing.
But you still used it more often when you took it to the office, right?
Well, I think it's because I had games to play.
Oh, that's a little fiery, man. I mean,
yeah,
golf,
that's a sad thing to say.
Golf Super Rush came out. Tony Hawk 1 and 2, so you could play it for the 5th time. I think you're right though, Dalan. We only hear about these because they're kind of the big boy consoles, right? The Switch it's a good console, but like Luis just said, he doesn't really use it. It's kind of like we just take it for granted, right? And that thing has sold quite a bit too. Honestly,
but you don't use it, but you had to have it. That was the thing about the Switch. Like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, everybody wants one, but not everybody has to have one. For some reason, the Nintendo Switch, every so often there's that game that pops that out at you that says, I need a Switch. Why don't I have one? And now everybody wants one.
Well, and then you remember.
Or they already have it.
No, and then and then you remember you already have it. It was somewhere around. But I mean, these are interesting numbers, right? These are the numbers for the last, I believe it's for the last year. So the fact that they hit 10 million and 6.5, which is the assumed number for the Xbox Series S and X combined, they're good numbers, I'm assuming, right? We'll continue a little bit later, or this next point that I was going to make, though, is a little more interesting to me, the attach rate. But before we move on the specifics of the hardware sales, Luis, anything else on that? Any more thoughts on this console war, quote unquote, that's raging?
PlayStation's winning.
They're winning.
I mean, on that point, I don't really think there is one anymore. I mean, personally, for me, most people I know either end up getting both at some point or already have both.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of just like, as of right now, we can look at the sales numbers and say, oh yeah, well, PlayStation is selling more, but I don't think anyone's really like
Yeah,
I don't think it
and
matters as much anymore.
yeah, and they play to sort of different audiences too, right? I mean, that's the easy thing to point out, right? That the PlayStation 5 is kind of like sort of in a way a premium experience. That as far as the software is concerned, where you're getting Sony exclusives, you're getting top of the line, design, and the Xbox Series X, or as far as the Game Pass and the Xbox is concerned, it's more like we're giving you volume. We're giving you decent games. They might not be 5 out of 5, The Last of Us 2 or Red Dead Redemption 2, as I've been playing, and it is incredible. But well, actually, you can play them on Xbox. You can play Red Dead Redemption 2 on Xbox. But the exclusives, you play them on PlayStation, and Xbox sells you on the volume. To me, the interesting thing, though, on the software front that I wanted to point out is kind of the attachment rate as far as the PlayStation 5 is concerned. The PlayStation 5 exclusives. Now, the attach rate is basically, when a console sells, or as far as what these consoles that are out there, how many games are sold per system, right? For example, on the Switch, Reggie Fils-Aimé, who's no longer at Nintendo, but he was a Nintendo executive, but he did talk about the Switch and Breath of the Wild in December 2018 was the last time he talked about it, but the attach rate for a Switch and Breath of the Wild was 50%. Now, we did get some of the sales numbers for example, the PlayStation 5 and Rift Apart. And I believe that was like 1.1 million copies for Rift Apart, which accounts for about a 9% attach rate, which is like, that's like a big PlayStation exclusive, and only less than 10% of people picked it up. The other one was Returnal, that sold 550,000 copies, which, according to Sony, is considered a quote-unquote mega hit. And that's only a 5.5% attach rate. So it's like, are people not playing their PlayStations? I forget who it was. I think it was Steven Totillo. I was like, apparently people are like haven't figured out how to turn on their PlayStation. These 10 million PlayStations that are out there, they're not playing them.
Actually, you got me thinking as soon as you said that. I'm sorry. I know that you were probably going to jump to Lewis.
I really was, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Dylan.
I'm Lewis. I'm cutting your
I'm
time.
not going to stop you.
But you made me think that this is specifically about attach rate. For those that already own the system and still want the games, is this number counting those people that still bought the game after they own the system? Because I bought the PlayStation as soon as it came out, and I still wanted to get Rift Apart. Thank you for letting me borrow it, by the way.
Welcome again.
But still, I'm sure that plenty of people went out and bought this game separate from purchasing another system with it. I mean, the game's still sold.
And look,
now, right?
to be honest, I was trying to be a little generous with the attach rate, because the attach rate, say if we were to compare, the Switch came out in 2017, right? And Breath of the Wild was the first game, I believe. It launched with it, right? Or close to it within the same launch period.
It was a launch
the attach rate was 100%. Meaning pretty much everyone that bought a Switch bought The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, over time, of course, it lessens because there's the volume of Switches, right, that are out there. So it's at 50%. This was in 2018. But the PS5 came out, you would think people are like clamoring for exclusives, which are Returnal and Rift Apart. They're PlayStation 5 exclusives, but only like less than 10% are messing with it. Now, Luis, I'll throw it to you, man. I know this was the big story to you. It tied into your big story for the week. Can you give us a little more details or expand on it a bit more?
Yeah. So you just want me to dive into that one from here?
Yeah, go ahead, Luis. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it was more something just that I kind of noticed reading through this. I had no idea you were writing this as the big topic, but
hey, we run a tight ship around here. Just so whoever's listening and or watching, we run a tight ship around here. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Luis.
So we go with these, even though these first two aren't PS5 exclusives, they are PS5 titles, and they're the top sellers. So it's Miles Morales, 6.5 million, MLB The Show, 4 million, or sorry, 2 million, but they somehow have 4 million players. I don't understand how that works. Returnal, 560K, and Rift Apart, 1.1 million. So if you take those percentages, right, and you think, okay, there's 10 million units sold, and these are the big hits that are hitting this console, it doesn't seem like anyone's using their PS5 to play PS5 games.
Like they haven't figured out how to turn it on or something, right?
I don't even think it's that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and like for us, right? I mean, I know I play Rocket League on my PC, but we play Rocket League. That's a PS4 game. You guys are playing it on your PS5. Yeah. We play Modern Warfare sometimes with Peru, and Abel and stuff, and that's a PS4 game. They're playing on their PS5. So like, we're still playing these old games and possibly just getting the frame rate buffs and all this stuff, but like performance improvements, but it's still an old game. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think
Like,
I
was
think
it too early?
I think no, man. I think 7 years, man. It's a long time. I think they might have even been pushing it. But we saw that with the PlayStation 4 when that came out. How people were like clamoring for a next gen system. Like, we need the next one. Where is it? And they took about the same amount of time for these new systems. You know, they had to drop them, man. They had to, especially with the SSD now drives that are available. But I don't know what it is. It's something interesting that it's to kind of they should look into, right? To clarify, the MLB The Show 2021 was because it's also on Xbox. So I think, remember we talked about it a little while ago that it's like, let me boot up this Xbox and it says PlayStation Studios as soon as I boot up this game. So I think that's what they're considering into it. But I don't know if it's too soon, like too soon to have launched the hardware, right? Is the question?
Yeah, because I mean, when you're tacking onto that, what I was going to add on to that too is that the next big titles aren't expected until next year. So one of them being God of War Ragnarok, which is not a PS5 exclusive, and then also Horizon Forbidden West, which is also not
Horizon
a PS5
they're
exclusive.
saying this year, but I don't know. That one's feeling a little. We'll see it early 20.
But aside from that, Gran Turismo 7 and Little Devil Inside and like Forspoken, and like that's kind of it. Like there's nothing else really on the horizon.
You know what? I'm assuming that it's just the brand name that's gonna get them through, and the fact that they're scarce, right? I think that helps, right? That kind of helps. It's like they're so hard to get. I want one. They're so hard to get, right? So it sort of artificially inflates it, and the fact that there's scarcity with the chips and all that. But I mean, it's interesting. I guess it would be interesting to see how attach rates are across PlayStation consoles in the past, because PlayStation's. They kind of serve a wider swath. Like, to be fair to PlayStation, to Sony, right? They're playing all these, they have volumes of games, whereas Nintendo's like, this is the one game. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Nintendo 64 dropped with Super Mario 64, and that was it for like 2 months. That was it. There was nothing else you were going to play on it. Dalan,
Mario Kart 64 eventually came out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, though, at launch, this, the N64 gave you one game. It was an amazing game. But they gave you one game.
And we had to get used to the game.
It was an epic game and a game changer and everything, I understand, but they still gave you only one game at launch. Dalan, anything else before we move on to the next point on here?
Nah, I don't have anything else for this one.
So the other one, so that's on the PlayStation front. For me, another quote that was interesting to me, and this one was as far as the Game Pass, which we were talking about how these are different markets that they're targeting. But this was by former PlayStation exec Sean Layden. He was talking about Game Pass. He said, quote, "It's very hard to launch a $120 million game on a subscription service charging $9.99 a month." He said, "You pencil it out, you're going to have 500 million subscribers before you start to recoup your investment." And this was actually, there's a guy that I follow on Twitter, and you guys should follow as well. He's Benji Sells, at Benji Sells, and he penciled it out. He actually was like, I think that's a little weird. 500 million subscribers means like you're generating a shitload of cash for Microsoft. Like, you're way and above, like, giving them their money back or whatever. But it's definitely one of those things where...
They divvy that out, though, right? Like, to all the titles on Game Pass, not just the one.
That's true.
So maybe
I guess why. That's fair. That's fair. Maybe he was thinking about, because that Benji was talking about, he's like, oh, maybe it's the way they asked him the question or the way he answered it or something like that. But you actually make a very fair point. But it is one of those things that people go back and forth about, right? Like how solvent is this for Microsoft, right? Because honestly, they're probably losing money on it, but they're gaining in hardware sales. They're gaining in people bringing them into the ecosystem. They're telling them we have the Netflix of games, and we have quality games and day one releases. Yeah. And they're a much, much bigger company than Sony is. Sony is like reliant on the PlayStation brand, whereas Microsoft is like, yeah, we also sell you Office. We giving you Windows out here. So it's definitely, I think it's one of those things.
They're also buying out companies for exclusivity as well. So like they're definitely losing some money on this, it seems like, at least for now.
It's definitely sort of a loss leader. And I think in the long term, they're thinking xCloud. They're thinking you can play all these games wherever. You don't even need the hardware itself, right? Like, you guys can play these games anywhere. Dalan, any thoughts on this one?
Once again, no, you guys have actually just said everything that I was going to say.
I like it, Dalan. I like it.
You can like it if you want, but now I'm like, man, I feel like I got nothing to say.
All right, look, we're on video. If you guys watch this on YouTube, you can see Dalan. He was laying down for a bit. He came back up to say, I got nothing to say, and then he's going to lay back down. Luis, before we move on, do we get to Dalan's point or anything else?
Yeah, let's get to that.
All right, Dalan, what's your big story, man, of the week?
The biggest story I have of the week is that as of Thursday, PlayStation 5 finally rolled out their beta system for using. Actually, it's their 2.0 update, I guess, for a beta system, and it actually allows people to use the SSD port that is in their PlayStation. Finally, I know, like last week, they actually talked about allowing people to use external hard drives that allows you to use SSD hard drives for the PS5, but now they're doing the beta for the actual internal slot, which is what I've been waiting for since the PlayStation launched. It was still upsetting when they told us that they weren't doing it at the beginning, and they said eventually we will unlock it, but I guess they had to figure out a new system for it. Why did they put it in there if they weren't going to use it right away? But that's a different. That's a whole different.
And this is something that you can add in addition to the hard drive that's already there, right?
Yes,
you're not replacing it.
It is your internal hard drive, and then it is your internal SSD that you place as an extended storage, which is awesome. But they gave some of the specs for it, being that I know I'm going to say some technical stuff right now, but the PCIe Generation 4, the biggest part you would need to know is that it needs to be M.2 SSD. You could have it anywhere between 250 gigabytes to 4 terabytes, which I don't think any other system previous to this has had a spatial size that big, especially not internal wise. And you need to have it be at least a speed of 5,500 megabytes per second. Now, or megabits per second. I'm not sure which one. I guess it's megabytes per second in this case. There is a height and length limit of the stick itself, and they suggest that you actually have a heat sink on it, and in which most of the newer 4th generation SSD cards come with a heat sink on it. So you just got to make sure it's not too big.
These SSDs are coming with heat sinks on them?
Yes, the metal plates that you generally see on these things, those are heat sinks, Carl.
Okay. Hey, man, I don't know. Look, you know my stance, man. Fuck computers. You feel me? Like, that's my stance on it.
All right, fine. That's your stance, but we're talking about the PS5 right now. Yeah. We're not saying fuck the PS5. We're saying we need more space.
Well, people don't buy games for it, so, I mean, maybe people are saying that already. I don't know.
They need to turn on their PlayStation. Maybe they'll turn it on more often if they invest more money in their PlayStation. And you, of course, don't have to use that SSD that you purchase on your PS5. You could use it on regular computers because it's just a storage hard drive. Now, there was one big note that came glaring at me as I was reading this news. It was the SSD expansion capabilities for the beta are only available to users who have gotten the PS5 software beta at the time.
What is this nonsense?
So that means that you had to have signed up for the beta of this whole expansion to begin with. And I didn't even know you could sign up for it. And I would have done that if that was the case. So they say don't try adding an expansion drive if you aren't a part of the beta program. So that was a huge down point for me. So before I actually move on to the rest of the update itself, how do you guys feel about the update itself? Or at least in this regard for the SSD.
You want to go first, Lise? You got thoughts on it?
I don't think I'm as heated as most other people are on the internet about not being able to use this, because I've had an external hard drive since my PS4. So basically all I did when I got my PS5 was unplugged it from my PS4, put it on my PS5, and I was like ready to game, basically. I just needed to install my PS5 games. So the space is very limited on the SSD. I mean, let's get that straight. But it can keep all 2 of my PS5 games installed.
I'm only trying to play 2 games at a time. I'm really only trying to play 2 games at a time. I feel you on that.
The system downloads so fast too, and you don't even need to worry about it. You just go and re-download your games when you do run out of space. You're like, let me delete this and update this. But that was a frustrating part for me in the PS4, is that I have multiple people that are my friends that want to play multiple different games, and I can't keep all those games on there.
What about the people that are not your friends, Dalan? What about the people that are
not my friends? They need to learn. They need to just make me their friend.
They need to learned it. Yeah, no. As far as this hard drive thing, it's like Lisa was kind of saying, like, it fits my 2 games. I'll delete one and the other. It does get sort of annoying, right? Where it's like, Uno's taking 4 gigs right now. When's the last time I played Uno? but
That
other than
Red
that,
Dead file's looking kind of big, huh?
yes, exactly. I read that one. I need to beat it. I need a critical path this
Oh man, you're thinking about that too hard now.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise, I don't know. Especially with all this nonsense and all these asterisks of like some will work, some won't. I'll wait till it's like out of beta, man, before I even care. And I don't even think I ever expanded my hard drives on the PlayStation 4. So, you know, I don't know if I ever will on the PS5. Even though
Hey, Abel's gonna hit you up about it.
Yeah, that guy's too concerned about it. Dan, what is this next point?
Yeah, so continuing on in the update itself.
You snuck in another story. I like it.
No, it's the same story. It's still a part of the update, but it's a big part of the update, which was a very frustrating thing. When you turn on your PlayStation, it in some cases asks you to update your controller because they have new updates for your controller. But if you accidentally hit no or hit circle, you have to wait a full day before you could actually.
Well, you can you turn it off and turn it back on. That's really annoying that you can't.
No, you can't even do that. If you turn it off and turn it back on, you have to wait 24 hours.
I put my thing to sleep all the time and I turn it on, and it always annoys me because it's never plugged in. Like I never have it plugged in, so I'm always like, no, I'm not gonna update it. Just wait. And yeah. So I think the last update for the controller took me like 4 days to actually like, all right, let me plug this in. So
you finally bit that bullet. Yeah. Well, now you could actually just go into the menu and settings, and you can actually force it to update. So once they actually roll out this is an official update, then even if you do miss out on it, you can always go back and update it. Hopefully they don't give you those like crappy updates that Windows be giving you where, if you update it, it might break something, and you have to go back and delete the update. That would be a frustrating.
You're talking about computers right now? Like you're talking about computers?
Yeah, I'm talking about computers right now. Everything we're talking about is electronic, Carlos. Everything requires
electronic
from somewhere in the ether. All right, it's gonna happen.
You're right. Look,
mishaps are gonna occur, which is why we have beta tests.
Look, also look. These consoles, the new consoles are what, x86 or whatever architecture. They're all PCs. I understand that, but they're not vibing with my Excel files and like Audacity and all this other crap. It just works. I just turn it on and it works. I don't have to update nothing. I don't have to install textures. What is it that you're always installing on PC? You're always installing fucking shaders around here. So no. So what's going on with the other updates?
All right. So for the other ones, they're more minor. If anything, they'll give you a 3D audio support for your built-in speakers. They'll allow you to rearrange the controls for your control center, or at least they'll add a control center now where you can actually do messages and view your messages there too. Each game, the titles will now say whether or not it's PS4 or PS5, so it'll actually say the version when you're trying to download it, because you go to the store, you're like, is this the PS5 version or is this the PS4 version? They're not telling you, and that was a frustrating thing just trying to do Outriders. You get additional options when it comes to the resolution for the PlayStation Now. You could actually move the buttons in the quick start menu. When you press that PlayStation button on your controller, you can actually move the icons, including the power button. You can actually set
that power button.
Long you have to hold it down.
I gotta mess with some of this stuff because some of this crap is like either not intuitive or they switched it around to like the PlayStation did it right, like the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 had, if you hold it down, you could control your audio settings, your chat settings, whether you want to hear all the audio or not, and then you had the power. It was so beautiful and elegant. Luis wrote up a blog about it on WeGotComs.com, so please to dig that up. It's been a little while, but yeah, man. Luis, I think I got my thoughts across on it. Luis, what any thoughts on this update here?
I'm more kind of interested in that, like those other secondary,
the remainder of them.
Yeah, that control center stuff, and then I've already kind of got into that quick start menu and like disabled some of the things that I'm like, I'm never gonna stream. I can turn that.
Not gonna use any of that stuff.
But yeah, I guess maybe moving some around or whatever. I would just like to be able to press and hold the PS button to turn off my console, like on the PS4.
Yeah, they're gonna add that so you can turn that on and off.
Dude, I always have to remember how to turn it off. It's like, what? Oh, I got to scroll all the way across.
Yeah, man, I'd be holding that button. I'm like, why isn't my bar coming?
Well, because there's the hold and there's a quick press.
There's the press.
That's stupid,
It makes a sound, though, which is so annoying. Like you press and hold it and it makes a sound, but nothing happens. You're like, what the
look,
fuck?
hey, PlayStation, get your stuff together. What's going on around here? All
Mm,
right, so we'll
need
move
to
on.
fix their
So we'll
freaking
move on.
interactive
We'll move on
menus.
to the quick takes here. And I put it in quotes. People can't see the rundown, but I put "quick" in quotes because we don't know. They could be quick or they could be longer than the main stories.
Damn, let's not.
Wednesday. So just to continue on from what we were talking about last week a little bit, Activision Blizzard, their employees actually did a boycott or a walkout at their company on Wednesday. And in conjunction with that, fans or gamers around were doing their own little boycott of some of the games, Activision Blizzard games, which includes Overwatch and it includes Call of Duty, Candy Crush. One that surprised me when I was looking at the list, I was like, Tony Hawk, whoa. Now
Yeah,
I don't care about
Activision.
Candy Crush, I don't care about Call of Duty, but you guys are telling me to not play Tony Hawk. But I did my best. I did not play Tony Hawk, maybe unrelated to the boycotting, but did not play Tony Hawk on Wednesday. So I think I did my part. No Call of Duty, no nothing like that. Did you guys boycott as well, Luis?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. So Prue hit me up yesterday because it's Wednesday, and he's like, "Oh, so Wine Wednesday or what? Like we're supposed to get online, crack a bottle of wine open, and play some games." And he's particularly leans towards playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
So I
he
was like,
loves his
damn,
Call of
on the
Duty.
day we're supposed to be boycotting COD? And he's like, wait, what do you mean? And I had to like fill him in. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess we could play Rocket League or whatever.
Okay, so
Like,
he
all right.
respected the vibes. He respected the
Yeah.
vibe. If I look, I hope it's not taken the wrong way, but it's
Carlos, get your words together.
no, I'm gonna get them together. I just don't, it's. I don't know. I guess it's interesting as admirable and stuff, but there's like so much stuff that happens that it's like this case just got presented. It still has to be litigated or it might get settled, right? Just depending on how much money it is. But people are so quick to like, let's boycott. It's like, what are you boycotting? Like, we need to figure it out. I mean, I respect what they're doing. I'm glad that this is coming to the front. Some of the crap that's come out of it, it's kind of gross, right? But sometimes gamers are, but hey, look, we did our part, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And I do like that one of our homies, you explained it to him, is like, all right, I respect that. Dalan, what about you?
Well, the boycotting part, especially for such a big company, it needs to be an ongoing boycott if you're going to boycott something like this.
That's
if
fair.
you just do a one-day boycott, Blizzard and Activision are just going to be like, all right, we lost money today. How about tomorrow? Oh, we're fine. All right, let's just keep going.
They're just back to it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? And it's obviously things that people pick apart, right? Like, why are we not talking? And I'm actually kind of happy that I have seen it. Some outlets have done it, where it's like, what about Tencent and like all these companies that they're buying up and the censorship when they go in and out of countries and stuff like that. It's like, why are we not boycotting that? Like, why are we not more interested in these other things? These are just specific things that bubble up. But respect it. And Daly, you didn't answer the question. Did you boycott Activision Blizzard? I'm putting you on the spot here.
I
Wednesday.
consistently boycott Activision Blizzard. I don't play those games.
So so you're more
Man,
more
no,
activist.
you're
more activist than everyone else.
I just haven't played them.
Right,
I've just not been playing. I've been on Rocket League. I've been on Yakuza. I've been doing other stuff. So
Which Yakuza? But Dale will be happy to hear that. Which Yakuza are you playing?
we'll come to that conversation later.
All of a sudden.
What you been playing?
These are supposed to be the quick hits. So I might be at fault for they're not so quick. The next one, we found out today or Thursday that so new Pokemon Snap is getting a new content drop. It's supposed to be free. That comes on August 3rd. New Pokemon, new areas. Best thing about it, free. Luis, have you?
All you got.
Luis, have you been playing this game, or what's your interest in this story?
No, I haven't played any Switch games in months.
That's
so
right.
I don't know if this will make me, buy the game and play it, but I still haven't played the game, and I'm interested to check it out. I mean, for nostalgia reasons, right? I played the N64 one. I don't even know for how many hours. So
Yeah, I know. That's the thing about the original. For some reason, it got you on it. It got you stuck. But I played this one, and I was like, ooh, this is a good memory. But then after like 2 levels, I'm like, all right, I got it again.
Well,
yeah, I kind of got that feeling that I'm like, maybe I don't jump and get it day one because I don't think it's gonna hook me as much. So
look, I didn't play the first one at all. I remember seeing it. I was like, that's dumb. This new one, I actually beat it. I critical pathed it. It's pretty pretty damn hard to critical path, though, to be honest, because you have to figure out certain little things, trigger little events that it's not very clear how you critical path. But it's an okay game.
I was about to say, you figured out why it's fun, though, right? Even though you critical pathed it, you figured out why it's fun.
Dan, I just said it's an okay game.
I just said you figured out why it's fun. I didn't say whether it was okay or bad, but you could understand why people enjoy this game, right?
I'm saying it was okay, Dalan. I didn't have a lot of fun.
A rock at your forehead.
I didn't.
You didn't say it was fun.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily say it was fun. It was interesting.
He sent it back.
It is interesting. It was an interesting enough game, but there were several points during that game when I was like, I didn't know what to do. What was the next path? And I was like, I'm done with this crap right here. I've seen enough. But okay, Dalan, fine. I'll give you a straight answer. I know I shot you like a tweet last week or something. It was like, not if you want a straight answer. This is Dalan. So I'll give you a straight answer. Yes, I understand the appeal. If you really like the original, Lise, I think it should be like right up your alley, man. But get it for cheap. You don't need to pay full price.
Like, you'll get it, but you won't get rid of it. That's what it is.
Yeah, and they're free updates. So I'm hoping that's a sign of things to come, kind of like Smash Brothers, how they regularly update that game.
Animal Crossing too.
Animal Crossing, and they're gonna update Animal Crossing after like a 9-month hiatus or whatever. So it's a good sign. The next one we got on here is Kenna Bridge of Spirits is delayed to September 21st. That game looks pretty damn cool. It looks kind of like a Legend of Zelda light. If you guys haven't seen it, go take a look to find out the trailer. We gotta wait a little bit, but we got plenty of games, right? We got Game Pass and all this other stuff, and apparently new Pokemon Snap content. Dalan, how you feeling about this delay?
I'm a little upset. I've been waiting for it since, again, the launch of this system. It was one of the games that made me want to get the system, along with, I think it was called Project
system,
Agatha
Dalan?
or something like that. PS5.
Okay.
So yeah, I think along with Project Agatha or whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called, Project Athena. But I wanted to get those two games, and now this one was supposed to come out in August. They have the release date set and everything. So 2 weeks before it's supposed to come out, they're like, nope. Let's postpone it.
I mean, look.
At least they didn't do it the day before or the day of launch.
Yeah. Wait, when was it supposed to drop? Was it supposed to drop around this time or like in the next?
It was supposed to drop like August 12th or August 17th or something like that.
They're polishing it up, man. I'm pretty high for it. But it's not a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so they're not.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's upsetting because I want to see it in all its glory on the PS5.
Okay, I like the little hand motion you did there. If you guys check out the video.
All its glory.
Oh, at least it's copying them now. I guess I'll throw one as well. Okay, yeah, I mean, Luis, how you feeling about this delay?
That's that simple for glory.
I'm not super surprised at this point. Every game seems like it comes with a delay date as well. So, it's just another Thursday or whatever.
What happened to Resident Evil Reverse?
Oh shit! Don't mention that, man. They're working on it. They're working.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should start changing the way games are announced. Like they kind of give us 2 release dates. Just be like, okay, hey, we're gonna try our hardest to make this date, but it might come out.
This is the good. Hey, this is a good faith effort release date, but we don't know.
It's like coming out this month, pending delays.
Well, we do kind of. I think we do have to give. Look, they've been doing that crap for a long time, so it's kind of hard to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I feel like we could sort of give them a pass just based on we're still in a pandemic. You feel me? Like I feel like we can give them a little bit of a pass.
That's coming at us.
And
that
the
variant.
Delta variant and all that stuff, So we can sort of give them a pass, but they have been doing this crap for a long time, right? The next one on here, we got so this was a little interesting to me, is the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD remake, which I haven't really heard too much about besides like the day it came out, right? But apparently in its second week of release, and these were UK sales, right? So they get weekly sales over there, but it dropped 74%. And to me, it's kind of like, well, no shit, man. I mean, people started figuring out what this game was, and like it's all like long and boring.
It's long, old school, and you can't get your what was it?
Your amiibo.
The Gull Wing.
Oh, you need
your
amiibo.
I was about to say
you
that
can't
too.
get your amiibo. I was like, your Gull Wing. I can't remember what that thing is called,
Yeah.
but you can't get the amiibo. I was just at Walmart yesterday trying to actually. I was thinking about picking up the game, and I saw like 20 of them sitting there. I was like, oh my goodness! And then I had gone to GameStop. 20 of them sitting there. These things are in stock, but there ain't no amiibos to be found, and nobody's buying this game. I'm like, man, what happened? Did something go wrong? Is there a bug with the game? But no, it's just people have the disinterest.
Yeah, I mean, and people are aware that it's not like the game, right? Because you don't get Breath of the Wild and it says HD at the end, so people are like, "Huh? I didn't play it on the Wii U. I'm definitely not gonna play it now." Even though I have heard that, to give it a little on the positive spin here. Apparently, some of the changes that they've done are welcome additions. Although they need to update that damn game to give you that fast travel without the amiibo that's stuck in the Suez Canal. You can't even get it. So,
all right, we've gone over this, Carlos. I think we had a previous conversation. Let it go for right now.
So the last one here on the quick hits is Facebook halts Oculus Quest 2 sales over quote unquote.
You skipped one.
Well, you guys weren't interested in that, but since you mentioned it, Dalan. So Dr. Mario World, this was a game on iOS that Nintendo, when they had their initiative, it was part of the iOS mobile initiative that they had. It's going to be unplayable November 1st. Nintendo said, get that out of there, get those networks, get that crap off of there, and you won't be able to play that game anymore. So you're welcome, says Nintendo. So the other game was, of course, Super Mario Run, which apparently that one made some money for them, but this one obviously did not even enough to keep up the servers, whatever limited servers they had. So that was just a little interesting to me. But other than that, yes, Facebook halts Oculus Quest 2 sales over quote unquote skin irritation. Now they've known about this since last year. This was a post on Oculus.com. This was on December 22nd, 2020. They said, quote, "We've received reports of skin irritation from about 0.01% of people using Quest 2, occurring where the foam portion of the Quest 2 headset rests on their face. While the vast majority of cases are mild and cases should resolve on their own, this doesn't meet our high standards for customer service or experience." Which, when you think about it, 0.01%, right? I think most companies would be like, whatever. So some people got eczema and they got to deal with it, or whatever the case is. I'm not trying to pick on people with skin problems, but yeah, I guess that's commendable, right? That it's 0.01% and they're considering that fan base or that
they just want to make sure people are safe. Yeah. And you don't want a bunch of lawsuits on your hand because you decided it would cost less to just settle rather than recall some of it.
yeah that's true. I mean, it could be even higher than that, because this thing, as far as I haven't looked at the sales for it, but I think it's been selling pretty well. That 0.01% could be quite a few people that turns into a what is it, a case, a lawsuit case or whatever,
a litigation. It could turn into a boycott.
Yeah, and then you got to boycott all of the Oculus Quest. You got to boycott Facebook. Imagine people not using Facebook. They would die, dude. They wouldn't do it. There ain't no boycotting Facebook. They love it too much.
That's like saying what happened to MySpace.
A class action lawsuit. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what is it? User case?
I like the fact that I brought up MySpace. You were like, nah, forget what Dalan said.
Luis, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I think it's really only just good press for Facebook and Oculus here. And even if you already have a Quest, I mean, they basically contacted I think you even said it there too, right? They contacted everyone that had one in stock and said, hey, don't sell one. We'll send you a silicone piece to put in there instead. So if you already have a Quest, you can just email customer support and they'll send you a silicone replacement if you want it for free.
And they'll just swap it out, and that way you don't have issues.
No, they'll just send you another one. Like, you don't have to send anything back. They're just like, here you go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just swap it out for what you have.
Right? Oh, like you personally, yes.
Yeah.
And that's, that's unlike Dalan asking for that PlayStation VR adapter for his PlayStation 5.
That never got it either because I have a P.O. box. They will not send it to me because I have a P.O. box. I live in the mountains. Oh, man, that's upsetting.
Triggered. But
I forgot about it. You made me remember that. Oh, man, I hate you.
I think it's just good press. I think it's just good press.
Yeah, it's just good press that Dalan doesn't get his PSVR adapter. And I do have it. I don't ever use it, but I do have the adapter.
Let me borrow it.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not saying let me have it. Let me borrow it.
I don't know what that means. So we're gonna move on to.
Hold on. I'm actually not gonna move on. I have a story that you decided not to throw up here, and I think it's big enough to at least.
Okay, mention. Go ahead, Dalan. Go
ahead. So a small group of veterans in the gaming industry have decided, and they announced that they're creating a new AAA studio called That's No Moon.
Okay.
So I had actually brought that up, but apparently it's going to be some veterans from Naughty Dog, Infinity War, Santa Monica Studio, EA, Bungie. They're all coming together and they're creating this new studio. It was like I see at least 5 people here. Michael Mumbauer, I'm not sure if I'm saying any of these names right. Tina Kaluski.
It's veterans from other companies, right, Dalan? It's veterans from other companies.
Nick Konanolis, Barry Ganova, and George Allison. That's how I'm gonna say it the best I could. Yeah. But they're all coming together. They already have a $100 million investment from Crossfire Studio to make a story-driven action adventure game, and I'm sure they're gonna make plenty of other games thereafter. But the fact is, all these big AAA
they have the experience,
veteran
right?
creators. They have the experience. They're gonna make this game, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of excited to see what comes out of this weird mash of people.
Well, my favorite thing. Well, my favorite thing is they didn't say multiplayer focused. Like, that's the key. That's the key here. Yeah, no, I mean it's exciting, but I'd like to see a little bit more. But look, Dalan, for once, thank you, man. That was a good one. I like it. Sorry, Luis, any thoughts on that?
No, yeah, I saw it. I did. I mean, the same as you. I would want to hear or see more before, but it's cool that these guys created a studio. Hope whatever they make is cool.
Yeah, when you got some people like that, I'm hoping it's gonna be really just excellent.
Oh, when you got Georgia, what's his name up in the
middle? Exactly.
Kasukis or something like that. That's what I heard. I'm not seeing it in front of me and making fun of someone's name. That's what I heard from Dalan. That's what I heard.
No, George Allison.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next thing here on what you've been playing. I think there's a little bit of overlap here with Luis, so we'll start with you, Dalan. What have you been playing? And then we'll get to you, Luis. Don't worry. Don't trip.
Do you want your Ratchet and Clank back? Because I did platinum it.
Oh, you platied it? Okay, that's interesting.
Yes. So I beat Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart, and I could understand why Dale said that it was a child's game.
Okay, all of a sudden we agree.
No. Again, I could understand why he said it, but it was still fun enough for me to not care about the simplicity of the game, because the game was beautiful all by itself. It had way too many moving parts. I was able to change the bolts into rupees, and that was fun. I was able to change my wrench into a sword and all kinds of other materials to be able to use. I had my hover boots that I was boosting all over the place with. It was just a fun, fast motion game. The only real problem I had with it was the fact that the bosses were too easy. But other than that, the game was extremely fun from beginning to end, and I still went out of my way to platinum this game it was very platinable.
Did you ratchet up? Pun intended.
Did I ratchet up?
Did you ratchet up the difficulty and was it still easy? Is my question here.
You know what? I did not. I platinumed the game, and I was like, I don't. Hey. I said I don't need to platinum the game on hard, so I just turned it off.
Yeah, that's it. That's an excuse for me, because I'm just trying to do bare minimum. So for the platinum, you did the same thing. You didn't go through all the challenges. You didn't go through all challenge plus. I love that, man. That's like, hey, but the platinum. I had to
start on challenge plus in order to get the other weapons.
Yeah, but a platinum kind of shows off. That's my favorite kind of platinum. It shows off the different. The different modes in a game, right? The different areas maybe you never explored, right? So what else, Dalan? What are the 2 games that you've played over here?
Another game I decided to start it on the PC is Yakuza Kawami. Is it Kawami or Kawami? I'm not sure, but whichever one it is, it's the first Yakuza, and it's that remade HD version of the game. And man, those controls are a little clunky.
It's a Japanese game, man. Switch the X's and O's. Switch the X's and O's.
Actually, I had one frustrating moment is that there's this point where they teach you how to switch stances, and what they don't tell you is that you have to press down on the D-pad in order to bring up the stances. So I'm just sitting here pressing left, up, right. I'm like, it's not working. And I'm just sitting here getting beat up by this guy all day long. I'm like, man, this is frustrating. I'm just going to let myself
You know what, Dalan? You got to get gooder, man. You got to get gooder.
I accidentally figured that part out, but all right. So,
what are you playing it on? You playing it on Game Pass or
no? I'm playing it with the Game Pass on my PC, so I'm using my nice graphics card.
So the answer is yes. You're playing it on Game Pass.
I said that. I said yes. I'm playing on my Game Pass, but playing it on the PC.
I heard no.
I heard a no, and then you went off and said a lot of things.
All right, fine.
Just
Sorry.
to say yes,
yes,
I'm playing it on Game Pass.
yes, I'm
Okay.
playing it on Game Pass, but I'm doing it on the PC.
Now, Kawami is the one that you go back to feudal era and all that stuff.
No,
I think, or no, it's okay. All right.
It's the very first one where it's like it takes place in 1995, and I haven't played the game enough to remember the name of the main character. But I guess he's the new head of the, huh?
Kiryu?
Yeah, you know
That
what
one.
I'm talking about.
That one.
He's starting his new family, so yeah.
He's a family man.
He's a family man. He's just trying to get a ring for Yumi. That was amazing.
There you go. There you go. See, I knew you would know the lore. What else, Dalan? You played something else? This one I'm kind of interested in to play myself.
This one, I have actually gotten some distance into the game, and I do intend on beating it because the new one is going to be coming out and going on Game Pass as well. It is A Plague Tale: Innocence, and it was out for free on the PlayStation Plus. I'm sure people missed it from last month when it came out for free, but it's actually a pretty good game. It is a very linear story, so you will not get lost.
Is it a walking simulator? That's my concern.
It is not a walking simulator.
So there's some action. You at least have a stick to knock stuff around with or something.
Yeah. Well,
no spoilers. Even though I asked the question.
Hey, you're pretty much just like a 15-year-old girl that's trying to survive with her little brother. So she doesn't really have weapons. Hey, that is not a spoiler. But really all you got is your wits and a sling. So that
Wait a minute, hold on. Is it like that game we were looking at the other day where it's like, look at this cool Tim Burton style gameplay. Now you roll dice. Now you have fucking cards that are limited. Now.
No. You gotta aim, push stuff. Okay. It's more of a puzzle game than it is a full-on action adventure game.
That hurts my feelings a little bit, but I want to check it out. It looks pretty. I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I
it is that the creepiest thing about that game, and if anybody watched any of the trailers, is those rats.
Yeah, the rat graphics. I definitely want to check that out. Real quick, and then we'll move on to the Red Dead Redemption 2, Luis, and see what you think about it. I played a little bit more of to The World Ends With You. I think I put the acronyms. Why did I put the acronyms? The World Ends With You.
Twooey. Twooey.
I think I might have mentioned it last week, but they kind of flipped the script on you, and it's like, you're in the second week. I'm like, what? I thought it was over in the first week. Why is this happening? I'm like halfway through the second week, and I got stuck, and so I had to look up a guide for a moment, and there's a third week. So I at this point, at this pace, I feel like I already got it from Gamefly, the new one, so I think I'm just gonna dip into that and be like, you know what, I understand what you were going for, but I don't like you.
Hey, at least it's not Persona and you're going through a whole school year.
Yeah, well, you're going through 3 weeks. It feels like a whole school year. The other thing, real quick, I'll say this real quickly, so then we'll move on to see what your point of it is. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, real quick. I'm like at the epilogue, and this epilogue is going for like 20 hours. So I don't know any epilogues that have like 70 chapters. So I thought an epilogue is, here you go. This is
Lord
what's
of the
happening.
Rings.
But yeah, that's my take. I'm still having fun, and Luis brought up the fair point that's like, oh, so now every game has pacing issues like The Last of Us. That was sort of my complaint with it. I don't think it's pacing issues. I think it's just like, when does it end? I've had my fun. This has been a great story.
Like, it was good pacing up until you hit the epilogue.
But even so, even the epilogue, it still has me like pretty intrigued. It still has me like, all right, I'll keep going. Good thing I have saves in every single slot, because you can't go back, I'm sure, to any of these places in time. So I have my save slots like strategically, like before certain events happen. So hopefully if I'm trying to get some trophies, I'm gonna see which ones like kind of look enjoyable to me, and I'll try to get some. But you've also been playing Red Dead, Lisa, or what have you been doing in this world?
Yeah, I think we brought it up for different reasons. I'm playing the online, the expansions that just came out. I think like a week and a half ago.
We played together a little bit. I was wrestling you guys. I was lassoing you guys.
Oh yeah, he was definitely friendly firing out there, dragging us on his horse and stuff.
Had to do it.
Yeah. So I'm actually really, really liking the online. I even tweeted about it. The online's like fun again. I'm just having a trouble finding people to play with, is the thing, but luckily these new expansions are you can do them solo anyway, so you don't need a posse with you. Because I mean, we do play, but like we play like 2 missions, and then you get bored, and you're like, let's play another game.
Well,
So like, we don't really get into
I think what happened that time, because I think, oh yeah, I found out I had to do some work or something, and I was like, damn, I can't play anymore. But it was pretty fun.
Before that, though, even the time before
That's
that,
fair.
you played
That's
like
fair.
a mission, and then you're like, all right, let's go play WWE.
I've seen enough. Let's play WWE, the free whack game that it was pretty whack.
Yeah, which was stupid.
But so as far as the content, and I know we talked, not on the show, we haven't talked about it, but when we were playing, is you were saying that this is kind of like they're actually updating the online portion of Red Dead, like they really weren't doing, not like how they treat GTA 5, which is their golden egg, right? Of course. Mm-hmm. But Red Dead Online, they're finally kind of respecting it. It looks like they might be updating it still.
I think they just changed the way they're doing it to make it seem as if they're updating it more regularly. Because before they would release an update, and then like 3 to 6 months would pass, and they'd release another update and just like ignore the game for 6 months at a time. So I think now what they're doing is they're just releasing that update in shorter bursts over a period of time.
So they're releasing the update in portions?
No, they're just releasing it in different pieces at a time, like adding on another part to it. Not necessarily like a different portion. They're not like, So
it's kind of like a week to week is what you're saying, instead of a big dump, it's like sort of like week to week or every other week or something.
Well, that's how this timeline ended up lining up. So they released the Blood Money expansion, and then that came with like 3 story missions and 6 or like 4 just like contracts that you could do, and then 1 big mission that went along with the Blood Money expansion. Now what they did is they waited a week, added a contract to it, and then added another story mission to it as well. That's separate from the other story. So it's not.
So they gave you the update, and then they made you wait for each mission to be able to do them later on. So
no,
they didn't.
They just added 1 more.
They added another mission on top of the other missions that they had already given you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Basically, Dalan, basically it hits different this time around. How about this, Lee?
It's different. I don't understand the way that they're releasing this. For a second, it sounds like they're doing like a mini seasonal thing with their update that they did, but it's not seasonal at all. It's just they gave you the whole thing, and then they're giving you another mission later that you could do. And then they might give you another mission a little bit later, but it's all in the same update.
The way that how about this? The way that they're dropping content for it, are you kind of happy about it, or is it just a little confounding, a little confusing, or you don't like it?
It's not confusing to me. I kind of actually prefer it, even though they sort of are tricking me into thinking they're giving me more content when they really kind of aren't. Because before they would have just released the whole thing, right? Yeah. And then they do also have kind of like what they're calling the quick draw club instead of the I forgot what it was called, but it was basically like their season pass. So they would release a season pass, and then it had like 50 tiers or something on it, whereas now they're releasing 3 different ones that are 25 levels each. So they released the first one, and then I guess in a few weeks they'll release the other quick draw, and then the third quick draw. So yeah, they kind of just split up the release windows for things. I don't know if that's because of limitations for people working on it, or if they just kind of decided to mix it up and release things differently.
Yeah, and you know what? It's however they're doing it. I know Dalan's still confused. Dalan, off air, we'll break it down completely.
But the way you just said it is pretty much the way that I was explaining it, even to myself. But it does sound to me like they're just trying to stretch out the content that they gave you guys, being that they want more concurrent players for a longer period. So if they know that more content is going to drop, they know people will come back to get that new content. That isn't really new content. It was already dropped. You just don't have access to it until later.
Well, I think the way you're wording it is why I don't agree with you.
Stop saying it.
You know that all the let's take for example your quick draw. You know all 3 tiers are going to be there, but you only have access to the first tier right now, and then maybe a week later they'll give you access to the second tier. But the fact is you have to wait that first week before you have access to the second tier, and it makes people come back. What if people finish the first tier in 24 hours, and that's all they did all day was to finish that first tier? Now they have to wait for the second tier, but at least they're coming back.
Which, like I was saying, we'll take it off air and we'll fully break this down. Then we'll take the hours it needs to get this shit
that's
straight.
What this whole
but what's very
podcast
clear.
is about.
But what's very clear. See, we still disagree. That's why, like, we'll take it off air. We'll break it down while we're playing some Rocket League. But what's very clear is that August PlayStation Plus lineup is revealed. Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, Hunters Arena Legends, which we kind of poo-pooed, I believe, last time when we saw it premiered or whatever. But the one I'm hyped about, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I love me my tennis games. They're dropping a Tennis World Tour 2. Dalan, I'm challenging you on the podcast. It's live. Okay. It's on wax.
First off, you're going to lose. Second off, I thought you enjoyed Plants vs. Zombies. Wasn't that your thing? The thing you were looking forward to?
I'm not messing with that. I played it on iOS. That's pretty cool. I like the flat 2D kind of, tower defense type of thing, but the Plants vs. Zombies 3D running around type of shooter thing,
it's not the same.
Not down for it. Tennis World Tour, I definitely challenge you at that. Both of you, I'm including you on this, Lise. Don't be scared. That's coming out. The other one I hope that we can play is the Ascent. Just dropped. It looked a little cyberpunkish, and I think even online people were like, they were saying like, oh, it's doing what Cyberpunk was supposed to do. I was like, you guys are high as shit right now. What are you talking about? It looks cool though. It does look cyberpunkish, and it's co-op up to 4 players, and it's through Game Pass. So I hope we could get down with that. Other than that, Chernobylite, our review went up day one as soon as the embargo lifted. Dayo's review is up on wegotcoms.com, so if you guys want to check that out. We also did a reasonably hyped episode of it, kind of running down the final impressions, and the video was kind of running in the background. I don't think we did it necessarily that well. It was fine. It was cool. We did point some stuff out in the video. But yeah, so will we be playing these other games that are dropping?
Well, tennis is going to be free, so that's not going to be a problem for me. I'm down to do that. And I'll try out your cyberpunk-ish game.
Okay. Luis, what about you, man? What you doing? You're just going back to Red Dead?
I mean, we'll do what we always do and check out a game for 1 hour, and then I'll delete it.
and then just go back to Rocket League after.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, whatever happened to us playing Knockout, or what was Dodgeball, but we tried to go
That
back.
looks pretty cool. They just updated too, where like they have night levels or something like that. Anyways, it
was only for a couple of days. It's gone already.
I'm upset by this now. And can you please explain it to me in the next 15 minutes too, Dalan, about how they're just drawing out the content. They're doing it this way so they come back. That's been Salient Points for this week. I'm your host, Carlos Macias, and my co-host, as per usual, Dalan Kirkwood. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Hey, you know what month it is, right? We're still in July until tomorrow. Or the day after.
I'm a little scared. Luis Mendez, thank you, sir. Back from the dead, but not back from the dead until the next time he misses and comes back. Thank you for coming on to the show, sir. We'll see you guys next time. Make sure to check out wegotcoms.com. Do we do the little like and subscribe? We've been getting some subscribers, man, or something. I'm surprised.
And on YouTube, I'm down to get some subscribers. Like and subscribe. You got to actually put that thing on the video, though.
Hey,
don't put it here.
We're gonna have we're gonna have a little script for Dalan or whatever, and he's gonna run it down.
Like, subscribe, and follow.
Oh, there you go.
Don't forget to punch that like button.
Don't forget to punch that like. They go like this too, right? Or they put their hand
down below. Hit
down
the button.
below. All right, see you guys next week. Thanks for listening and or watching. Latest.